The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is essentially a show about a bunch of people fighting over a frisbee. That's by no means a bad thing, it's pretty fun to watch at times, and it has some interesting ideas, but there feels like there's a lot of wasted potential. I don't think I would describe it as something great. It doesn't reach the same sort of highs that WandaVision did, but it also didn't crash and burn in quite the same way. It just sort of holds itself as being consistently okay. I think the main thing that holds this show back is how short it is, and the way in which that time is used. A lot of the time is focused on the show's one-time villains, the Flag Smashers, and their leader, Carly. Carly is the only one of them that is given any kind of personality, but even she isn't particularly interesting or fun to watch. So much of the time is wasted with this story, and it takes away from what I think the show should have been entirely focused on, and that's Falcon coming to terms with what it means to be Captain America. This time could have also gone to doing a better job developing what I think is one of the more interesting parts of the show in John Walker. Walker is introduced to us as the new Captain America, which leads us down his story of trying and failing to live up to the insane responsibility that comes with following up Steve Rogers. The character goes from dedicated soldier to superpowered psycho, and then back to heroic protector in a very short period of time. It's disappointing because this could have been an incredible story if it had been given more time and paced a bit slower. The idea of Steve Rogers being perfect is something that is embedded into his character. Every other character looks up to him, giving him a ridiculous amount of pressure. There's an exchange from the Civil War comic that I think sums it up, where essentially Iron Man states that Cap is putting people like Spider-Man at risk because they look up to him, and it seems that Steve is the only one that doesn't see himself as perfect. Basically, Steve has a reputation that exceeded even himself, and the idea of a character being put in the position of trying to live up to that reputation and seeing how they deal with the impossible situation is interesting. I personally think that John Walker should have been Captain America for longer. We all knew that Falcon was going to be the new Cap, and it would have been a surprise if Walker still held the mantle at the end of the show. Imagine if the series had shown Walker working to try and earn the respect of Falcon and Bucky, and as the pressure builds up, we see small hints at the cracks starting to form, escalating slightly after he takes the serum. Then we will see him go too far in a later season, making it more impactful because we will actually know the character, and we will have seen him slowly break down over the episodes. Of the two main characters, Bucky comparatively has the much smaller part, acting mainly as Sam's sidekick and helping him with fighting the Flag Smashers. Bucky also has a sort of side plot about him dealing with the guilt of his actions from when he was a Hydra agent. It's pretty decent, but as with what I've mentioned before, it could have done with some more time spent on it. The real main character is of course Sam Wilson, who spends the entire series coming to terms with whether he should be Captain America. It's done quite well overall. The politics are a bit heavy-handed at times, especially during his speech at the end, which didn't hold the sort of gravitas you would expect from Captain America. I mean, compare it to the speech that Steve Rogers gives in Avengers Endgame, it's just not at the same level. We do get to see more of Sam's personal life and his family, which is good. It helps flesh him out into more of a character. Up until now, he's mainly been acting as a sidekick, so this is quite important. The two lead characters are alright. They've been an entertaining duo throughout some of the MCU, but their back and forths in this show aren't great. The charisma just didn't seem to be there. The major side characters worth mentioning are Zemo and Sharon Carter, who both make multi-episode appearances. I don't have much to say about Zemo. He's rich now, which wasn't mentioned previously, but he's still a fun character to watch. He doesn't have much stake in the plot, but he does keep managing to keep us invested by trying to manipulate every situation to his advantage. He ends up going with the Wakandans, who take him to the raft for some reason, and he still doesn't have a sword, which is a shame. He's displaying a bit more of a clearly defined moral compass, taking steps to prevent more super soldiers and actively contributing to destroying the Flag Smashers, which is interesting. Honestly, I'd love it if they took this further and turned Zemo into a sort of extreme anti-hero. Sharon Carter also contributes to the plot, and she is changed into more of a villain. In terms of this show, the reveal of her as the broker was very predictable, and in the end she kind of steps on Falcon's toes when it comes to fighting the Flag Smashers. But this change is very good for her character in the sense that she is actually a character with a personality now, which is significantly more than she was in the Captain America films. This seems as good a time as any to cover how the Flag Smashers managed to acquire superpowers. The answer is, some guy just figured it out, and then dies about 10 minutes later, which is nice and convenient. It's not like thousands of the smartest people in the MCU, including Bruce Banner, have tried and failed it before him, but whatever, it was just a way for the characters to have Cap's abilities. From a production standpoint, the show still holds up. Everything looks good, Falcon's new costume is great, and the way his combat was designed using the shield in flight was brilliant to watch. One other cool thing they did was in the music for John Walker. When he's in combat, a version of the Civil War theme is played, but it's in a diminished key. You can still recognise it as the Captain America music, but it feels just a bit off, which is a very clever choice for this character. Overall, the show was fine, but nothing special. It had this sense that it just sort of didn't matter. Various plots just sort of happened without affecting anything, and by the end of the show, Sam was set to be Captain America, just like he was before the show began. It kind of left me questioning what the point was. You may have noticed that this is the first video I've uploaded to this channel, and this is also the first video of this type that I've made, so I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments.